To be fair, I should start by stating that I feel that our current form of free market capitalism was a bold and daring attempt to strengthen our economy in a time when we were severing ties from our former English leaders and creating a new economy of our own. It succeeded quite well, and I really doubt there was anything that could have done a better job at the time. However, just as our political system is showing its age, so is our economic model. As I feel that it would have been more simple to make smaller, incremental changes to our government over the years, so do I feel that it would have made economic change a bit easier to handle. Unfortunately, we have left this model in place for far too long, and it has allowed us to fall into a sort of modern feudalism. The centralization of wealth is quite extreme, and it is a bit unsettling to think about what it is actually possible to do with the amount of money that we allow people to possess. The first thing that I need to point out, before I make broad sweeping changes to a system that you have known all of your life, is that these changes are not possible without complete energy sufficiency, such as that provided through the Oxon project. In fact, everything that I am proposing hinges on developing such a source of power. It is simply the socio-economic possibility that we will have once we are released from the yoke of our energy struggles. It is important to remember that with unlimited energy comes unlimited production capacity. We will be able to design automated factories that require very little human interaction other than maintenance and repairs, and eventually even that will be marginalized with robotics technologies. What this means for the individual is hard to say, but the point of the entire system is that the increased productivity belongs to all of the society, not simply to the person who currently owns the factory. So the cost of manufactured goods would plummet to rock-bottom prices based on the amount of manpower required to actually create and deliver the goods. In the larger scope of things, this would not immediately make everyone richer. What it would do is relieve the seemingly overwhelming burden that most people feel in their lives. Just for an example, if automation could eliminate 25% of our workload, then despite how our politicians like to angle it now, that does not mean 25% less jobs. What it means is that everyone, every single person needs to work 25% less hours in order to support themselves at the same standard of living. So basically, if you work 40 hours a week for full-time pay now, then you would only work 30 hours a week at this point, and that money would go far enough to provide the same lifestyle that you now enjoy. For those who work in factories now, obviously training and mentoring programs would need to be put in place to transition you to other segments of the economy. Regarding the centralization of wealth, something decisive must be done as well. There is no need for any individual to possess massive riches. In fact, it works against the good of society. Currently, the only actual benefit from this is that tying up money in the pursuit of power and opulence technically slows down inflation by keeping those funds out of general circulation. However, inflation itself is a relic of an outmoded economic model. In the grand scheme of things, the basic currency of society is human effort. As we become more advanced, more accountable, and more responsible, it makes less and less sense for us to rely on an arbitrary form of currency. When we make arbitrarily valued currency, such as dollars, it is of course impossible to keep those dollars at an even value relative to the goods and services that money represents. With a growing economy, you must always generate more dollars to give to people to purchase more goods and pay for more services. Since you can never balance at perfect equality, you can only create a deflating economy or an inflating economy. Obviously, a deflating economy would simply slow down until there was no point in having faith in the currency, and it would be abandoned. That means the only option with money is to have an inflating economy, where you ensure that there is always more currency than goods in the system, pushing the arbitrary value of the goods up and the arbitrary value of the currency down in a display of managed inflation. We can abandon the use of arbitrary currency if we place the value of goods and services according to the amount of effort involved in providing them. Thus, in simple terms, if you worked 30 hours in a week, you would earn 30 hours. In truth, it would be a bit more complicated than that, as you would still be liable for some form of taxes in order to pay for utilities and civil infrastructure, all of the things that you need but that you can't buy yourself. Also, I think we can all agree that more highly trained and educated citizens, such as doctors and project leaders, should still earn more than the average person. This would not need to devolve into another arbitrary form of currency, however. Using large-scale computer analysis, net pay for labor, general cost of goods, and required tax expenditure could be calculated on a regular basis in order to keep the system in a state of near-perfect equilibrium. In the long term, limiting the accruance of wealth will help take care of many of our ills. People will see little need to resort to crime if hard work can make them wealthy. The automation of society will allow those who are wealthy now to actually see their own lifestyle remain comparable even after the changes. There is no need for individuals to own yachts and private jets. With enough energy and production capacity, we can have enough yachts and jets for everyone to share them equitably. Obviously, we would need to employ people to maintain these assets, and any damage would be promptly repaired and billed to the irresponsible party. This would ensure that everyone who wishes to rent these luxury vehicles would be able to expect only the finest and most enjoyable experience that money can buy. The main difference would be that a cook in a restaurant would sail in the yacht once in a while, and a head of a business would probably be able to afford to enjoy these luxuries even more than they currently do, when they currently have to work so hard just to own the boat themselves. This subject in particular needs much more detailed discussion, but these basics will soon be described in length.